You are live, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Standing Insurance Committee to order.
You need a motion for that, or?
No, we just call it to order.
Oh, okay. All right.
Roll call.
All right,
Jeffrey.
members are asked to signify their presence when their name is called. Counselor Braverman.
I see her.
Yep, she's here, but she may be muted.
Sharon, I think you're muted.
Okay, here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lavariere,
Present.
Mr. Sharma,
Present.
Mr. Castell, Mr. Johnson,
Here.
Mr. Schulman, Ms. Schulman, pardon me, Mr. Slusarski, Mr. Trister,
Here.
Mr. Mankey.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there any public? I don't see any public on.
We actually have one on a phone. I'm not sure if that is a member of ours or a member of the public. If it is a member of the public, they can use *9 to raise their hand on their telephone. If it's a member, please definitely raise your hand so we can move you over. Should be able to unmute yourself at this time. *6 will do that on your phone.
The call that ends in 182. Can you unmute yourself?
*6.
Huh.
I'm going to move him over. Nope.
Hello?
I can't move him over, so
He's muted again.
it's *6. There we go.
Hello? Hello?
Are you there?
The number that ends in 182?
Phone shows active.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello?
Hello.
Clark?
Yes.
Oh, it's
Perfect.
Clark. Okay.
Yep. Thought I
I was-
recognized the phone number.
I'm sorry. I wasn't able to launch the meeting for some reason, and then I had troubles unmuting
No
on
problem.
the phone.
James,
No.
can you move him over to a panelist?
I unfortunately can't because he is on his telephone, but I can
Okay.
leave him active for us.
That's fine.
Yep. So no public with us, so moving on.
Okay, moving on.
I've never had a problem launching a meeting before, but this is not working, so I'm
it's
very
the weather,
sorry.
Clark. It's the weather.
Are you serious?
No, I just blame it on the weather.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's my standard explanation. If things aren't working, it's the weather.
It's a good move,
Okay.
Mr. Mankey.
It works.
Good evening, everybody.
How are you?
Hi, Clark.
Hello.
Okay, Jeff, you want to
Recognized
take
a couple familiar names.
it from here, Jeff?
Yes, we're here to discuss the request for proposals for the agent of record. And a draft was sent out to each of you. And if you had a chance to look at it and you want to make any comments or make any changes, Mr. Slusarski contacted me last night and emailed me a change that he would request that we make, and that is to put in the possibility of having the period extend past 3 years due to extenuating circumstances, which I'm sure I can do. However, the ordinance states that the council's appointment shall be for a 3-year period.
Okay.
So we'll put in that it may extend beyond, as we did this particular year for COVID. But for the most part, it's a 3-year appointment.
Okay.
Very, very unusual that that it would not be 3 years.
And that's most of our agent of records are for 3 years, right?
Yes. Again, that's what the ordinance says that they shall be.
Okay. Okay.
But it didn't make a lot of sense to have a new agent of record during a period of COVID when you couldn't really interview these people and,
Right.
you know, meet with them or get a feel for them other than through Zoom. So it just made a lot of sense to continue on, and USI was willing to do that. So they did.
And just for everybody on the call, can you just explain what the agent of record does for us?
He does all the things that are listed in the RFP. So everything that's in the services sought on pages 1 and 2. Every one of those bulleted items are things that they do. They evaluate existing insurance contracts. They solicit and negotiate the town's insurance. They'll disclose all price quotes. They'll place the town's coverage. They'll purchase the coverage in an ex-commission basis if that's possible. Sometimes it is not. They'll identify programs, products, and insurers capable of meeting the town's insurance needs. They'll act as an advisor for the town. They'll present to the town a written evaluation of results from each quote that they get. They'll design alternative approaches. They'll provide timely answers to questions that are presented to them from Lou Jacomowitz and myself. They'll assist my office and the Standing Insurance Committee in monitoring and processing all insurance claims. They'll assist and oversee loss control activities, and we do rely on them for loss control activities as opposed to the town's insurance carrier. I think that USI's loss control is much better, to be honest.
Right.
And they are required to attend all of this committee's meetings. Obviously not this one when we're talking about their RFP, but
Right. Yeah.
the others they are required to attend. They'll assign a specific employee who has been Bill Guerrera. Bill is now semi-retired, and he's turned things over to his son, Jason, who is handling the town's account.
Okay.
But they have a specific employee who's responsible for the town and our questions and all the items I've mentioned. They'll make certain that the proper insurance carriers are notified of claims in a timely manner. Actually, that's primarily done by James because he notifies KRMA. With KRMA, it's relatively easy because just about everything goes through them. They handle workers' comp, they handle property, they handle general liability, they handle automobile insurance. So they have everything. So it's relatively easy. But if you had different carriers, this agent of record would be responsible for making sure that the appropriate carriers are notified of claims, which can be important when you have umbrella carriers involved.
Right. Okay.
You're also going to be conducting periodic reviews of large claims and workers' compensation claims and so forth. We're in a retrospective rating program. And I personally prefer the retrospective rating program because the town actually pays for what its losses are, as opposed to the large deductible program where you can end up paying more. So there are, again, you can go down these various bulleted items and they will tell you all the things that the insurance agent does.
And we have insurance agents of records for our other insurance lines like health and pension, right?
That is correct. There is a separate insurance agent for that committee that's administered by the Pension and Benefits Committee. And there's a pension and benefits coordinator who is the liaison with that committee. So the agent of record there is responsible for those things and for supervising the, not only the investment program, but also the health insurance benefits as well. But
Does anyone
again,
else?
that is not within our
Right,
purview.
Yeah.
And no, those are the only two insurance agents that the town has.
Right. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or any additions to the RFP?
Yeah, I just have one. Jeff, USI, how many terms have they had now as the agents of record?
Yeah, this is their second.
Second. Okay, so this is the fourth year of their second term.
They had it before, and they lost it to RC Knox for one term, and RC Knox had it for 3 years, and then the person from RC Knox retired, and we went back with USI.
Okay.
And that was
And the name of the gentleman who's going to replace Bill Guerrera, James.
Well, it's his son, Jason Guerrera.
Oh, it's his son. It's his son. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, they haven't submitted a proposal yet, so we don't know, but I'm assuming that that's who it will be. That's the person who has been handling the town's account recently.
Okay.
Bill is
so
semi-retired as of the first of the year, and his son Jason has been fielding all my questions and all of Lou Jacomowitz's questions. And Lou's had a few. And as far as I know, he's gotten answers to his questions, and I know I've gotten answers to my questions.
Okay. And there haven't been any substantial changes to the structure of the program in the last couple of years. I'm just trying to get familiar with.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's nothing placed outside of Kerma. I thought there were one or two
Well, there are a
specialty
couple of
coverages.
smaller ancillary insurances that are outside of Kerma. There's a crime policy with travelers so that we don't have to get bonds. And there's a cyber liability policy that we have because we don't think Kerma's coverage is that great, to be honest.
Right. I remember. Yeah.
So there's also been an unmanned aircraft, a drone policy, if you will, an unmanned aircraft policy.
Yeah, why do we have that, huh?
For the John Wallace Middle School that has an aerospace program, and they will occasionally fly small, very small, like 3 inches long aircraft. But there have been other instances where they hire unmanned aircraft, and Kerma's policy works well for police departments who choose to use those things and others, but not so great for the schools. So.
For schools, okay.
Okay.
If I could chime in, wouldn't the drone coverage be under an umbrella policy?
No, it would not unless you had specific coverage for it. And again,
what an umbrella is for. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Well, an umbrella would be on top of what your regular coverage is. So if you didn't have regular coverage, your umbrella wouldn't carry it. And again, for what is covered in there, I'm not really qualified to speak in a lot of technical terminology about the unmanned aircraft program. But as I recall, they required licensed pilots for certain things, which is why the police department doesn't use it, because they don't have a pilot.
Right.
And they've been looking at the possibility of sharing a pilot with some other towns or other community, at least one other community. But up till now, they haven't had a need for unmanned aircraft coverage, but the John Wallace staff has. And for a while, we had an instructor at John Wallace who was a licensed pilot, but he left. And the woman who replaced him didn't have the same qualifications.
So right now we aren't using drones anyway, so it's probably a moot point at this point.
Right.
I think
Any
it's
other
like what,
questions?
10, it's like 10 grand for the drone coverage.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money.
Well,
I mean, I would bend over and pick up $10,000 if I saw it in the street, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but in terms of the overall insurance package, I mean, you're looking at $1,491,000 for the two, for the general government and the Board of Education combined.
I know, drop in the bucket. Drop in the bucket. I gotcha.
Anybody else have a,
Jeff,
anybody else have- Yeah.
yeah, are we gonna, is the idea now to proceed with having the interviews over Zoom?
Well, that's really up to the committee. And do you wish to interview these firms, first of all? And then the second question would be, do you wish to interview them in person or do you want to interview them via Zoom?
I'd rather interview them in person, and I think we should interview them.
Okay,
I'm
It's hard to-
inclined to agree.
It's hard to get a feel for somebody across the TV screen.
I agree.
I agree, Mr.
And
Mankey.
you did say that the reason, one of the reasons or major reasons for not proceeding with RFPs last year was because it would be too difficult to do or inconvenient or not as efficient under
It didn't make a lot of sense. They hadn't
through
been
Zoom.
providing some of the services. For instance, we haven't been having our committee meetings. So they haven't been providing you with an annual report telling you all the things that they were doing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, we
They
need-
had not.
and some
We need to
of
get back to
is-
that.
Is kind of like a sales thing, but there is some value to it. It does tell you the things that they've been focusing on in the past year, but they haven't been doing that. And really a lot of the things really weren't being done because of COVID-19. There weren't face-to-face meetings and there weren't claim reviews and there weren't some of the other things that would normally take place when you don't have COVID.
Okay. Is everybody
Jeff,
okay
I
with
would,
in-person meetings, interviews?
Yeah, I agree with in person. That's much better.
I agree.
Anybody opposed? Does anybody else have any other changes or suggestions to the RFP?
I'm going to put in Mr. Susarski's recommendation that we
Yes.
we can't go beyond 3 years for unusual circumstances.
Yeah, I agree.
I will add that in there, but I don't know of any other changes. I have not received any other changes.
Okay. Yeah, I would put that in there. That's a good suggestion.
Jeff, I'm not sure I understand. Wasn't John's idea to extend the term another year?
No, I think he just
Oh, I
wanted
misunderstood.
to cover COVID, basically, and or unusual circumstances that may arise. And his specific amount was, the only comment I had regarding the RFP is that we should add some comment about our ability to extend past 3 years due to extenuating circumstances. Not sure how
Oh, I
we
get
did
it.
the current contract for a year and how easy it was to do that last year. If there is no issue, then maybe we don't need to add anything since we don't have anything like COVID, hopefully again.
Yeah, but we
Yep,
never
I
know. So
understand,
I think it's a good safety net.
Right.
I mean, we'd
Okay,
have
well, let
to
me
meet and decide it's extenuating circumstances and somehow quantify that. But I think it's a good safety net just in case something. Again, we hope we don't use this for another 20 years, but just in case we have it there.
Okay, well, at least I understand it now. I misunderstood misunderstood it at first. Okay, everything's fine as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so Jeff, the next steps would we send out the RFP and then people would respond?
Yeah, I'm going to send this out. I'll send it out to the, certainly the 3 firms who responded last time.
Okay.
And then we'll see what proposals we get back. Proposals are due back, I believe, the 14th of April. Yes, it is. Right on your screen there, due by 2:30 p.m. on April 14th. 2022.
Just before
So
tax day.
the ones we get back, I'll share them with, get them done, scanned electronically and get them out to the committee members. And then you can determine which ones you want to interview. Now, the committee needs to bear in mind that this agent will also need to be placing insurance for July 1.
Right, so
So,
we need to get on this, yeah.
yeah, I kind of waited around. I should have gotten it out a little earlier than what I did, but I didn't, so. That's why. They've still
Hey,
got
Jeff,
time. We're roughly in the same time frame as we were the last time we did this,
Right,
so.
it should be no problem.
Yep.
I think as I recall last time, didn't we interview 2 in the same day or 3 in the same
Yes.
day?
Yeah, and that's how you normally do it. You interview them on the same night.
Right, okay.
So if the committee has a night that they want to do that, then they want to identify that now. It should obviously be a week or so after April 14th, but if we know when that is, I can also include that in this paragraph on selection process. I can tell them that they need to be available for interviews on whatever night.
Would the 28th be good for everybody?
I'm checking my
Thursday
calendar.
night. That's a Thursday night.
It's about the same, about a month from tonight.
It works for me. Thursdays are good.
Yeah, Thursdays are good for me, I think. If we're all here anyway, so we know Thursday's good today.
Well,
April,
again, Mr.
28th.
Johnson probably had to leave already because I think he could only stay on about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
I'm still here, Jeff.
May still be here, but he indicated to me that he had a Thursday night conflict.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, so generally I have a standing engagement on Thursday evenings. So they're generally not good for me, but you know, this isn't an every Thursday thing, and I can make accommodations to interview people if that's what the committee decides.
Can I ask what time your commitment is?
6 to 7.
If we met with 2 firms at 7:15 and 8 o'clock.
hello?
Excuse me? If we met with 2 firms at 7:15 and 8 o'clock, would that be acceptable?
Yes,
Okay.
and if it's earlier, I'll forego my thing that Thursday night.
Well, if you're asking people to come out to the town hall, they're probably going to have to do that in the evening anyway.
Right.
So I'm thinking 7:15 and 8 o'clock are probably going to be better times for that.
Yeah, I can make that.
Okay.
So let's get it. Yeah, 28th. Let's do it.
Good. It's good for me. Everybody else okay with that?
we're sure.
Sure.
Sure thing.
And
That's April 14th at 7.
when I distribute
28.
the minutes, I can also notify members that the next meeting will be on the 28th. That will probably start like 7:10 or something, so you can figure out who's going to ask questions and so forth.
Why don't we just make it 7 o'clock and Dave can get there when he can get there.
All right.
Well,
I can make it by 7. I'm in Weathersfield till 6:45, so I can make it there by 7.
Okay, so let's make it April 28th at 7 o'clock.
Okay. But you still want your 2 interviews at 7:15 and 8 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, that gives us a chance to just touch base and get the the process done.
And similarly, if you want a third firm to interview, well, how do you want to handle that? Do you want to wait until we have proposals and then determine which ones you want to interview, or?
Well, how do we determine which ones we interview?
Well, it's who responds. Last time we
Right.
got 3 responses. There aren't a lot of agents out there.
Well, I mean, I would think if we had 3 responses, we would interview all 3 of them. just
Okay,
to do our due diligence, unless one comes back and, they fill it out in crayon.
right. I think, well, last time, one of the firms from, the one from Glastonbury, which was Arthur Gallagher Management, they were more of a international program.
Right.
And the committee knew they didn't wish to go with them, and so they didn't interview them.
Well, I guess, Jeff, we can depend on your recommendation. When you get them back, you probably deal with this more than most of us.
Do you want me to work with the chair?
Yeah. Who's that?
Okay,
Oh, that's me.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we can maybe meet on the 15th and figure out which ones we want to interview.
well, I'll
If there's an
distribute them
issue.
to the committee, and if the committee members have any thoughts on who they would like to interview, if they want to go 2 or 3,
Yeah.
then they can certainly contact either you or I,
Good.
and we'll do it that way. How's that? Otherwise,
sounds
you
good.
and I will determine who we're going to interview and who we're not.
Sounds good. That sounds like a plan.
Okay. But as far as the meeting goes, I'll tell people to be available starting at 7 o'clock on
Correct.
the 20th, right? And if there's a third interview, then it'll be at 8:45.
Yeah, I don't know how the rest of the committee feels, but I'd rather get it all done in one night than have to schedule 2 nights and then have to remember what somebody said one night and then to the next night.
Well, the other option is you can go for shorter interviews.
Well, we can figure that out once we get how many responses back.
Right.
Okay. We can. Jeff, you
I'm
and I can
sorry.
work on the scheduling of the interviews, but right now just block off the 28th at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll put something in the RFP that they need to be available on the evening of the 28th for interviews.
Right.
And I think, Jeff, we had a list of questions ahead of time, the members of the committee, and we decided who'd ask what in what order.
Yes, we do have, I do have questions from last time. We had about 5 or 6 questions from last time. And again, I can present those to the committee, and if there are others that we want to ask, we can certainly do that.
That's
Okay.
a good idea. Good.
Okay. Anything else we got?
I have nothing.
I think-
Okay, so we will reconvene on the 28th and hopefully we'll have some responses that we can look at.
All right, very good. Thank you.
I mean, there's no chance that nobody responds, right?
Well, USI has indicated that asked if we were willing to extend for 1 more year, and I said no, that we had an ordinance that we had to meet.
Right.
Oh, I
Okay, so
would
they're still
anticipate-
interested, so,
I would anticipate that they at least will submit a response. But I
okay, good.
don't know about anyone else, so.
Sounds like a plan to me then.
Okay.
Any other public participation? Do I see any public? I don't think so.
We have one individual on. I'm not sure if they're here as part of the meeting or if they're part of the attendees.
It's probably me, James.
No, it's not you, Clark. It's
Or-
one
or
other one
Ken.
ending in 3
Oh,
zeros.
really? Oh,
He's
I'm
Yeah, the
sorry.
phone number ends in 3 zeros.
No.
I don't see any hand raised, so.
Yep, nobody else in there.
I see no public participation.
Any comments?
Nope.
Okay, then it's, I guess, a motion in order to adjourn.
So moves.
Second,
By Richard here.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Okay, we're adjourned at 6:03.
6:03. Yep.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Good night, guys.
Thanks.